Welcome back to Migrant Sunrise. Dyersville, Iowa. Look at that. Field of dreams. This is American Sunrise. We are glad you're with us. I'm Dr. G. We thank you for joining us. It is now time for today's health news that is sponsored by the Wellness Company. And under the microscope today, a rare surgery gave a man back his vision. Listen to this. Brent Chapman, I thought it was crazy when I was reading this. Brent Chapman went blind more than 20 years ago, but he was able to have his vision back through a procedure called tooth in eye surgery. Yes, you heard that right. The surgery was developed back in the 1960s and is done in two parts. First, the tooth is removed from the patient, and then there is a plastic lens inserted into the tooth. Then the tooth, you are not dreaming, by the way, this is actually happening and this is real. Then the tooth is inserted into the patient's eye socket. And so how is this procedure effective? Well, it works because teeth have one of the toughest biological substances that we produce in our bodies, and it restores the vision in the eye. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it has to do with the nerves in the tooth. Maybe they reattach them to the, I don't know. But you know what? It works. And so we don't need to ask a lot of questions. But I always see things like this and I think, and we can't cure migraines. We can't cure cancer. I don't know, because it seems so technologically advanced. And it is, and there are a lot of exciting advancements, I think, on their way too, especially with this new administration in Washington, D.C. It's brought a lot of positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. The reality, though, is there's only so much government can do, and that if we really want to make America healthy again, it's going to have to start at home. And that's why the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from their doctors all the time on this network, and you know that their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy. The Wellness Company gives you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their series of prescription medical kits. These kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of the meds in the kit. And additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and more. These can help you stay healthy and live a longer, more satisfying life. Make America Healthy Again starts at home. Protect the health of yourself and your family. Go to twc.health/RAB. Give it an order. That's twc.health/RAB. Use the promo code RAB. That'll save you 10%. Terrence, tooth in eye surgery.
Yeah, I'm still on that one, Dr. Gina. I'm still trying to figure out how that would potentially work. Like you said, technology, I mean, we've made so many advances. That's not something I don't think I'd have ever even dreamed up, that you can remove your tooth and somehow attach it to your eye socket and then be able to see again. Wow. That's next level stuff. All right, Dr. G, appreciate it. I'm going to do some research on that myself. Anyway, let's get to the southern border, folks. It's been a top priority for the Trump administration. The New York Times is reporting that President Trump is giving the Pentagon permission to use military force against Latin American cartels that continue to terrorize the border. All this comes on the heels of Mexico recently extraditing 26 alleged cartel members to the United States to face prosecution here. For more, let's bring in RAV correspondent Oscar El Blue Ramirez. Oscar, good to see you this morning. We appreciate you joining us. What's been the reaction on the opposite side of the border, on the Mexico side of the border, in terms of Mexico really cooperating with the United States and helping to send these cartel members to the United States and really cracking down, if you will, on cartels?
Well, since the Trump administration, Terrence, it has been a remarkable change on the side of the Mexican government. They have been pushed into a point that they're doing incredible statistics. One of the most incredible statistics, Terrence, that since the Trump administration has had, talks with Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican president, it is that 50% of fentanyl on the distribution in Mexican territory into the northern borders that connect to the United States of America, it has decreased. Also, they have arrested more than 20,000 agitators and creators of violence. These are violent criminals that they have been arrested in the Mexican territory. Also, you just have mentioned more than 55 cartel leaders and members. They have extradited also to the United States of America. The borders have been mostly controlled in terms to the trafficking of, illegal aliens crossing to the United States of America to non-ports of entry. But the most important thing also, Terrence, is that they're pushing and they're exposing the dirty politicians in Mexico. Most of the politicians, they have been pushed into a point that a lot of them, their visas are getting canceled. Their travel visas to the United States of America are under review because they're being investigated for corruption and ties with the organized crime and the cartel. So a lot of these things They would not be happening if it was, Kamala Harris will be president, or if it was, back in the day, Biden, that it was the past president of the United States, Terrence.
And Oscar, to your point, a lot of these things are happening because President Trump is in office. But beyond that, and I'm basing this on our previous conversations, a lot of this is also happening because of the threat of tariffs from the Trump administration.
Yes, absolutely. This is one of the best strategies that has ever been done by the Trump administration. This administration has a lot of power right now, Terrence. And the number one thing that they have is they have the two drug lords in kingpins of Mexico. They have El Chapo Guzman and they have El Mayo Zambada under power. They have a lot of ways to extract information of how the whereabouts and the operandi of the cartels and the organized crime in Mexico. So that gives them a lot of leverage for negotiation for the United States to know how the mode operandi of the cartels and all the borders, how they were operating to the United States. And the threat of a tariff has been one of the most important things that has pushed the Mexican government to basically negotiate. Every time that Donald Trump gives a speech or says something about pressuring Mexico to send military, to reinforce the military and to reinforce the borders that connect to Mexico, every time Mexico gives out, leaders of cartels, or they reinforce more of the border. Just, 2 weeks ago, 2.7 tons of drugs that were detained before crossing to the United States of America because they have put multiple inspection points as canine dogs, as x-ray machines, and ultimately also as National Guard checkpoints.
Oscar, a couple of weeks ago, you and I also talked about a caravan that was starting to form in the southern part of Mexico and make its way north. Where does that caravan stand now? Can you give us the latest on that?
Well, it was around 350 people. I don't think that they have reached not even outside of the state of Chiapas, that is the south border state that connects to Guatemala. But one of the most curious things about that, Terrence, is that the leader of the multiple caravans through all the 4 years of Biden was arrested, and it was under the claims of human trafficking and potential organized crime. Later on, 6 days after, he was released because the government did not have enough proof. But in the morning conference of the president, they said that his file is still open. He's still under investigation. The pro-migrant leader activist demanded the International Committee of Human Rights defend him against these claims and defend them against this supposed defamation of his character by the government of Mexico, but he's still under investigation. This caravan of 350 people, the most obvious thing is that it's possibly dismantled. They already negotiated with the Institute of National Immigration of Mexico to stay in Mexico and to assimilate in Mexico and to get the work visas in Mexico, Terrence.
Oscar, before I let you go, I'm curious about the perception there on the opposite side of the border in Mexico. Here in the United States, we, of course, realize that the border has been closed. President Trump and the administration in general continue to tout the fact that border crossings are at pretty much zero. How is the perception there in Mexico, and what is the reality like there in Mexico in terms of people trying to make it to the border and the situation along the U.S.-Mexico border?
It has been a completely significant change, Terrence. The people that live close and near to the border wall, they used to see armed men all the time walking around to the open border gaps, and they used to be in danger all the time. And now the organized crime and the cartel does not have that, huge power over the open border gaps and over places that they were smuggling and trafficking individuals. Also, the Mexican citizens understand that these people are not putting their lives in hands of cartel leaders and also coyotes and smugglers. That is one of the most, huge things that is actually happening. Not only these policies of securing the border, they're actually basically bringing security to the Mexican citizens. But one of the most important things, Terrence, it is that it's saving lives. There's no children dying, and there's no women being raped and abused in the Darien Gap. There's no more, exacerbated extortion and kidnappings in the parts of Central America. There's no more back-to-back, smuggling the back of the tractor trailers, people being suffocated to death all the way to the north borders. And the most important thing is there's no mass migration through open border gaps where NGOs and coyotes and smugglers were making millions out of human misery, Terrence.
Oscar Ramirez reporting for us this morning. Always good to see you, my friend. Stay safe.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure, Terrence.
My pleasure. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin says President Trump's plans in Washington, D.C. are, quote, oppressive. So how did he get to that point? We've got his comments next.